So Andy, I think what a lot of people are seeming to forget about Stuxnet, and I know it's a subject that's been, proverbially beat to death, is that Stuxnet itself, it represents a new era in this space, and that new era is one in which we can't find, there isn't a silver bullet to stop Stuxnet. If you look at some of the literature, some of the recent webinars, the information, Eric Byers and Byers Security did a great analysis of the threat vectors and how it spreads. Kevin Staggs and the ISA are working on a number of initiatives to do a gap analysis of the ISA standard as it applies to a threat like Stuxnet to make sure things work. But what we're all understanding is that Stuxnet heralds a new age of targeted cyber attack. And that's scary for a couple of reasons. The first is that it can happen. It's been happened. The code is out there. The ability to do this is there. And the fact that we had a motivated attacker target very specifically control systems is sort of that Armageddon that everybody thought would never really happen. Granted, nothing blew up and it was very specific, but the concept has been proven. The second scary part about this, though, is that Stuxnet represents a living, breathing, maneuvering type of threat. It changed and adapted as it needed. And anybody that puts in place controls today to control Stuxnet is great, but over time, your security levels, your programs, they all go by the wayside. And in light of all of our clients and in this space being challenged with resources and number of people and the influx of technology and the explosion of complexity in the plant facilities, the ability to maintain security is that second wave. A lot of people are looking at what happened with Stuxnet, patch against those vulnerabilities, move on, go back to their day job. But what we really are uncovering, and which I've been talking about for a while, is that security isn't a program. Security is a culture. It needs to be mirrored very similar to what a safety program looks like so that we can have facilities that run security programs day in and day out. It's one of the things that Matrikon works with many of their clients about with respect to the development of programs, training and awareness programs, regular updates and refreshes. We regularly now work with our clients to put in a solution like a backup solution or an antivirus solution, and then come back to work with them to make sure they're keeping it up. Because the investment today, like anything in technology in a fast-flowing stream, will eventually tend towards entropy. So the second wave, what people aren't quite getting about Stuxnet, is the sheer volume of maintenance and effort that's required to keep that up.
So when we're talking about Stuxnet and we're talking about how to manage Stuxnet more effectively, one of the things that's very important is to understand that it is an evolving technology. It will evolve and create new challenges for the users. So the users have to understand where their vulnerabilities are within their system. And if they do understand their vulnerabilities, effectively they can manage it better. That's doing things like assessments, that's doing things like on a day-to-day management of their system. Those are key and critical aspects that they need to do. And there's a lot of different capabilities that they can employ, or tools that they can use to employ, and services that they can employ at the top end that are DCS independent. So that if they have multiple different systems on their site, or if they're a corporation that has multiple different vendors that providing their DCS systems, they need to understand that a lot of top-level stuff is consistent in some of the requirements. And regulatory groups like NERC-CIP incorporate those capabilities, and they understand that, so they have some of the standards associated with that. One of the things that we offer within Honeywell is that working with Matrikon, we have that ability to go across vendors, across DCS independence at the higher end, and to a certain level into the lower, more detailed levels. But with the Honeywell side, we offer much more detail in the delivery of the project level services to actually meet some of the DCS specific requirements. And those are much further down, much more detailed, but those offer the customer the additional tools that they don't normally have within their own organization. In some cases they do have that capability either within their IT, and we will augment, supplement, or even help to assess against that so that they can make sure that they're doing the things that are necessary to manage their cybersecurity requirements.
So Andy, one of the other things I find that people need to think about when they're putting together a compliance program is the ability to access all these very valuable silos of data and information. If you look at the average footprint on a facility, there's very good bits of information. There's very good silos of best-in-class technology around backup or restoration or patching or intrusion detection, but they all exist in silos, and your total security program needs to be able to integrate with all those. That's why one of the things Matrikon's working on is our compliance manager, which doesn't duplicate or try to replicate any of those things, but helps our clients to anticipate their issues by collaborating with those different data sources, and then allowing them, once they have the context of those data sources, to act. Because really, the ability for an organization to have data in, for example, an Active Directory account, a training awareness background, and an HR check, all reside in different databases. The ability to have that at your fingertips to manage who has electronic and physical access into your facility and to revoke that when necessary is where the magic comes in. So anyone who wants to actually put together a management program needs to look at how they would facilitate access to disparate data sources, workflow to be able to work people through the day-to-day use of that data, and context, because data by itself isn't that useful. When you put it in the context of the task at hand and the risk to your facility, it becomes very powerful.
So you can't just do the one shot. You can't just do the assessment and do the project work. You need to be constantly looking at it and saying, what other tools are out there? What other things do we need to be incorporating? You know, it's not just around antivirus and security patches. It's around intrusion protection systems, intrusion detection systems, and it's whitelisting in complementary with the blacklisting antivirus. There's all kinds of tools that are evolving and coming out to fend off the threats that are being created, because those are evolving as well. The hackers that are out there are looking at new capabilities, new technology, looking at new threats within the products, and the users need to be also looking at what those threats are and making sure that they're keeping on top of it. It is an evolving industry, and it is an evolving requirement.